This next one, long before America was preoccupied with worrying about the Russians, believe it or not, there was a time in American history when America was preoccupied with worrying about the Russians. It happened once before. During the Cold War, a Soviet attack could come at any moment. It didn't. But people didn't know it was called the Cold War back then, so people were very scared. So to protect ourselves, the Nike Project was started in 1954.
Just do it.
Just protect us. It started in 1954 to detect and intercept any Russian bomber planes that might fly over the city and drop atomic kisses.
You said atomic kisses.
Laugh.
laugh.
The way it worked, this Nike project, there were lookout towers equipped with radar and computer systems who would detect the planes and then alert nearby missile silos to then launch Ajax missiles at the bombers, destroying them and allowing everybody to get back to surfing in peace. Now, since LA was one of the closest major cities to Russia, we were at high risk, especially since there were so many aerospace facilities and military bases around, not to mention the huge population increase they were getting after the war that wasn't this war that we're now talking about. So as a result, LA was one of the most fortified cities in the country, with 16 missile defense sites known collectively as the Ring of Supersonic Steel.
Yeah, that looks good on paper.
Yeah, it's also the name of what Superman gave to Lois Lane when he proposed to her. The Valley had two of these Nike sites. One was Site LA88 on Oak Mountain in the hills above the 118 in Chatsworth. That opened in 1957 in a long line of scary things that have happened in the hills above Chatsworth. But the big one was LA96C, which is that right there. That opened in 1956 on San Vicente Mountain above Encino. It was once a secret that it was up there, but thanks to the chatty Cathy that is time, we now know it's about a mile up a dirt road off Mulholland and Encino Hills Drive. The given address is near 17500 Mulholland Drive, but if Balboa went all the way up, you pretty much hit it. But it doesn't, so don't do that. The Pentagon deemed this spot here the highest in the city while still being inside the city, and from this site they could detect planes up to 100 miles away. This was LA's last line of defense on the northern and western horizon, and I for one feel safe knowing that that responsibility was in the hands of an area best known because of a Pauly Shore movie. I can sleep tight tonight. This location, it had a watchtower that you see right there. It had water tanks, barracks for the soldiers stationed there, a generator, a cactus garden, and easy access to really good Israeli food and a Laemmle theater. But local jokes. But this was just the eyes and the ears. The fist was a little further into the valley at Victory and Woodley at the entrance to Balboa Park where that Air National Guard site now is. That location it was called LA96L, and at any given time would have up to 35-ton Ajax missiles. Now you can bring up the missiles. They were ready to start World War III at the slightest sign of a Russian plane or an alien or just a big balloon that might have gotten loose. There they are. They're sharp. They're very sharp. You got to pop that balloon if it comes over. To alert the good citizens of the valley that doomsday was here, there was a system of air raid sirens strategically located throughout the valley to reach everybody in the community. During World War II, there were some sirens to warn people of a Japanese attack, but the sirens were re-educated to now fear the Russians in the 50s, and more were added. They were re-educated. More were added with a few dozen being in the valley, and there were some like 400 around throughout the entire city. They were tested on the last Friday of each month at 10 a.m. to the delight of dogs throughout the valley. With all these defense systems in place to make sure no Russians came into the city, in 1959, the city of LA welcomed Premier of the Soviet Union Nikita Khrushchev right into the city, into the missile-protected bosom of Los Angeles.
Sucker.
They didn't expect that. Khrushchev had two demands while he was here. He wanted to meet John Wayne, and he wanted to go to Disneyland.
So John Wayne took him to Disneyland.
It was not a fun time. He got to meet John Wayne. No, it's good. People don't need to hear this. He got to meet John Wayne, but instead of Disneyland, he was taken to Granada Hills. The second happiest place on earth. They took him to Sophia Drive to get a taste of American suburbia, and he was not happy about that.
Yeah, this is my problem with America.
Where's the Matterhorn? Eventually, the arms race between Russia and the U.S. escalated to the point where each country had intercontinental ballistic missiles that flew so fast and so high that the Nike detection system would have been able to alert the city that an attack was coming just after everyone's ears were evaporated. Evaporated. That's what happened.
Yeah.
The Nike project ended in 1974, and the Encino and Chatsworth sites were decommissioned, but by then, they were already long obsolete. Like, they weren't doing anything. The Encino site, like most of the Nike stations, were turned into a park. It's now San Vicente Mountain Park. In 1995, by the Santa Monica Mountains Conservancy, after decades of being owned and neglected by the state. You can still visit the station and have picnics on that radio tower we saw before, but if you eat there, you are expected to defend democracy in case of an invasion. There's a bunch of air raid sirens left also. I'm sure a lot of people have seen them. There's still like 200 left around the city, and several of them are in the valley. They were used for the last time in 1985 when they realized that over 30% of them were broken, and the valley had gotten so spread out that even if they did all work, only 42% of the people would hear them.
Oh my God.
And so the price of tearing them down wasn't worth it, so they just kept them up, giving thousands a false sense of security, thinking that they'd have early warning in case of a nuclear attack. The closest one here is at Strandwood in San Fernando, which is, it's like, we'll all walk there.
Everybody
after the
stand up,
show.
single file.
Everyone get on top of each other's shoulders. It's on the corner where the fire station is, like right near the Mission. So if that goes off tonight, I'm claiming the door prize. And I'm leaving. Those are the missiles.
Cool.
Cool,
Cool, man. Missiles are cool.